twined chain cast on is such a pretty edge, and it also has a matching bind off, which is unusual. You begin with 2 butterflies of your colours, and it's much easier to start with a small amount of yarn disconnected from the ball, and it begins just like a crochet provisional cast on. So make a slip knot in the first colour. Don't clamp it down too tightly, and cast on a number of stitches. In this case, I'm going to cast on 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to make a chain, and I'm going to make a 5 chain length. 2, 3, 4, 5, and elongate the last loop. Now I'm going to do the same again with the second colour. So beginning as before, slip knot and crochet hook and cast on 3 stitches. 2, 3, and chain 5. 4, 5, and elongate. Now I'm going to take my first chain and put my crochet hook back in it. And I'm going to position that chain forward. And I've taken this chain over the top, and now I'm going to cast on 3 more. 1, 2, 3, and chain 5. Bring this chain forward, take hold of the green chain, and you can start to see the twining happening. I elongate that last stitch just to ensure it doesn't disappear on you. And just keep on doing this all the way along, alternating the 2 colours. 3, 4, 5, elongate, bring to the front, and try not to get the chain twisted when you put your crochet hook back into it, so it should look like a bound off edge. And continue until you've cast on sufficient stitches. Complete the cast on in sets. So we've got a pink set and a green one, so that's 1 unit. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 36 stitches. It doesn't have to be 3s, it could be 2s, it could be 4s, and the number you chain determines the elasticity of the edge. So you can experiment with, you could maybe cast on 3 and just use 4 chains, depending on how full you want or tight you want the edge to be. Finish the last chains with a chain hanging out and the big tail, And I've just tucked my tails in there for security purposes. And I'm going to fold this in the round and we'll come back and finish this edge shortly. When I cast on in the round in a situation like this, it could just be a regular provisional edge, but you can knit all across the first row or round before you fold it. So I'm just dividing this approximately 50-50. So slip the stitches half onto each needle, fold it around into a circle, and this avoids any problems with twisted edges. And now I'm going to start on round 2. I'm going to do garter stitch here, so my next round is a purl round. The first stitch is kind of snug up with the back needle. And it pretty soon opens to the layout that we're more comfortable with. Once I've put the first quarter on this needle, I'll introduce another needle, and by the time I finish this round I'll have 4 needles in the work and the 5th to knit with. Now there's a bit of knitting on top of this. It starts to take its form and look really pretty, and the finishing touches when you're working in the round are to connect the ends of the chain. So there is the last of the 5 chain stitches. So I can pull that tail through, and then I can complete this chain by connecting the end to the beginning with a single stitch graft. So simply take that yarn, sew around the base of the first stitch bound off and back into the last stitch, which replaces the 5th chain. So it's exactly the same chain length as all the others. This connects that bound off chain appearance, and now I can do the same with the green chain. I just have to make sure that I connect it in the same sequence, cross it the same way as all the rest of the twists, sew it around the base of the first stitch bound off, back into the stitch it came out from, completing the connecting chain. And once both those tails are hidden, there will be no visible beginning or end to this attractive edge. The edge itself is very versatile. I chose to do 3 bind-offs and a chain of 5, but you could do 2s and a chain of 3, depending on how much elasticity you want in the edge. The looser the chain is, then the more elasticity you have. So it's really very good top for a sock. And there is a matching bind-off if you were to use it in some other situation, perhaps a toe-up sock.